Hey, hey, hey! With the metaverse quickly creeping upon us, many have questions concerning what will reality be like in the future? And our reply remains the same. What do you wish it to be like? The most empowering way to step into that future is to understand how you can currently create this reality that you are living in now and to realize your reality manifests from within and exponentially expands outward. So, in today's episode, number 61, Gary, I can't believe we're doing 61 already. The
Crazy, I know.
Infinity Matrix exposing reality as you know it. It comes at a dude, it comes at a perfect timing with so many real world references, like the trending conversations about the metaverse and existing theories and simulation hypothesis gaining more and more attention, speculating that the nature of existence is an artificial simulation within a computer. I don't know if it's in my computer or not. But we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we're glad you're here. And as we explore this complicated view of reality as you know it, and in order to influence the experiences that you would prefer to have in your life.
Yeah. So reality as you know it may not actually be reality as it truly is. And in today's live stream, I'm going to attempt to directly influence the reality you experience. In fact,
I'd like
I'm
to
going
emphasize attempt.
to
Yes.
I'm going, in fact, I'm going to show you that others are influencing your reality all the time. And if you don't understand the mechanisms of how you create your reality, then they'll continue to do it for as long as they can. But here's the thing. Once you understand, and I mean really, truly understand reality as you know it, you are then empowered and you can take hold of the reins and steer events and situations in the direction you prefer. And you can do it from an empowered place of choice. Welcome to episode 61 of Hacking the Infinity Matrix. Our goal today is to expose reality as you know it. And before we jump into the content today, quickly let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from today. Did you know that interaction has been proven to increase comprehension and memory retention? Well, this is how you can actually start your interaction today with the stream so that your memory and your retention is expanded. So go ahead and let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. And while you're doing that, I want to start off with something quick and fun. In a second, I'm going to show you something with some very specific instructions. Ross, I'm just going to pop you out for a second here. And I'm just going to, we'll see. We got New Zealand, we got Ireland, Connecticut. Keep them coming. Sunderland, UK. Awesome. Welcome, 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 everyone. Also,
Okay.
by the way, if it's your first time here, go ahead and drop in hashtag first time, just so we kind of get an idea and we can come back and properly greet you into the into our membership in our group and our community. And it's always nice to see who the new faces are in there. Okay, so I'm going to pop Ross out here for a second. And I'll do that. And then bring this one in. Okay. So in a second here, I'm going to show you something on screen with very specific instructions. Let me see if there we go. I think that should be okay. Let me hide that. Okay, I think I don't think my image there should hinder what you see. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is in this video, I want you to pay attention to it. Click that there. Okay, I want you to pay attention to this video and notice what's happening. Okay, so there's an experience of reality that happened there. All right, now here's the instructions. I'm going to rewind and play it again. This time, what I want you to do is actually just make sure everybody can see the video. Just go ahead and chat in the comments. Let's see the video yes, video okay, just to make sure, because I don't want to go ahead without making sure that you guys are all seeing that. So I'll just wait for that before I move to the second part. So just let me know in the comments, video thumbs up, or video is good, it's loud and clear, anything like that, just so I can make sure that you guys are able to interact and get the most out of this. Awesome, awesome. People are seeing it. Okay, great. We got South Africa in the house. Woohoo! Way to go. More from UK. And did I see Ireland there? Let's see, we got Seattle. Cool, cool. Our video is good. All right, so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to play it again. This time, here's the clear instructions. This time, I want you to pay attention to this guy jumping on the trampoline in the back. And I want you to count the amount of times the guy on the trampoline makes a jump, meaning every time he bounces up. So it doesn't mean that he has to be on his feet, okay, to make the jump. So anytime he bounces up, I want you to count how many times and then just hold that. I don't want you to enter the information into the chat once we do it. I'm going to ask for the answer later in the stream, so don't spoil it by dropping the info in the chat. Okay, so everybody play along with me here. So here we go. We're going to play this now. Count how many times this guy jumps on the trampoline. Here we go. Okay. Okay, how many times? I'm going to give you the correct answer later. Don't write it into the comment yet, okay? I'm going to give you the correct answer later in the stream. It's partly for you to stick around to find out the answer, all right? But also to keep your mind thinking, and then we'll come back to why we do that a little bit later, all right? Now, a quick reminder. Let me bring Ross back in here. Like that. Ross back in. There he is. All right. So a quick reminder that we do offer exclusive content.
Sorry.
we do offer exclusive content, and bonuses to our private group. So if you want a little extra, head over to facebook.com/groups/the Infinity Matrix. It's really for people that are a little bit more serious about finding ways to hack reality, hack the matrix, to really tap into more of the resources that they can for themselves to be empowered and live life more fully. It's hacking the infinity. Sorry, facebook.com/groups/the Infinity Matrix. I'll throw it up on the screen in a second, but I'm also going to send it in the chat. There are three. Actually, Ross, if you could put in the chat, that'd be great. There are 3 quick questions you need to answer to get instant access to the group. Otherwise, the system bumps you. So just answer them real quick, and it'll bump you into the group, and then you'll get you'll get access to all that other stuff, and also be part of a really great humming community. All right. Now, here's something to ponder as you listen to what Ross has for you today. If we can agree that reality, for the most part, consists of matter, some kind of matter, okay? And quantum mechanics has been demonstrating and proving that consciousness actually affects matter. Then the conclusion we have to come to is that reality is dependent on consciousness. So the depth or level of your consciousness will determine the level or depth of your reality that you experience. Now, I know that's a lot to digest, so just sit with it for a little bit, and let Ross, let's expose reality as they know it.
Indeed, we shall. But before I start, I want to talk about a comment that's in the stream right now that Jenny said that the metaverse is scaring the heck out of me, to be honest. And I just want to throw this out because we're going to delve into this both this weekend, probably next week as well. But Jenny, that is you that are scaring the heck out of yourself. Okay, so what we're going to talk about and what we've been talking about for, over a year now is that your reality and your feelings and your fears and stuff like that are all inside you. And we're going to show you exactly what they are made of. So currently, there's a struggle, and that struggles between the standard model. That's the standard physics, which is the Big Bang was the primary release of energy, and we don't know what happened, but it was a completely natural process in the evolution of the universe. And then you have another theory, which is that we are living in a digital or a simulated environment, and that um, we're just in a virtual reality. And you've seen movies about things like this, which are very, very basic, distilled down variations so that the majority of the populace can understand the narrative there. But that's the other one. And then your third one is that it's a spiritual model, and which has been kind of the natural creation. So the Big Bang's evolution, but there was also some kind of intervention, whether it be religious or whether it be extraterrestrial. At some point, there was manipulation of our DNA that gave us the ability to grow, to expand, to evolve, both physically and mentally and spiritually. So there's a quote from Einstein that really I love it. It says, when asked if reality is a simulation, Einstein said, whether we are a simulation or biological, it doesn't matter, because our existence only matters if it's real to us. It only matters if it's real to us. That's a powerful statement. And as far back as 1935, he also acknowledged just how unsettling the quantum effect can be, calling it spooky action at a distance, which in turn also says that he didn't quite understand it yet. And so they didn't have the science at the time. And in today's science, such bizarre anomalies have ignited a powerful revolution in the way we think of ourselves, the universe, and our ability through human consciousness to influence such powerful quantum energy. Energy so magnificent, so sublime, as it is everything. It's everything. Spiritual leaders proved this eons ago, while only recently, over the last 100 years or so, has our science opened the door to a fire hose of possibilities that pushes the limits of what we've been led to believe about our world, ever proving the effects of observers can actually stimulate their experiments, creating an influence into the kind of reality that we choose to live in. In other words, the new science and the new experiments is showing that we, just by thought alone, as Gary said earlier, we can change part of the outcome, if not all of the outcome, of a specific experiment. And if so, then the next question is this: are those effects also telling us who we are within that reality? So these types of questions are what spark the ideas of the simulation theory, which were later popularized by books and movies and all the like. It started with the free will discussion and religion's insistence of fate, and later morphing into a technological debate of whether we exist within the confines of a silicon chip. Now that's hard to swallow. Okay, so, and maybe we're in a simulation right now. To have created a world in a computer with all these universes, all these details, people, animals, flora. Imagine a civilization it would need to become significantly technologically advanced. What kind of a civilization can create something so extraordinary? Then we will most likely be a simulation or a simulation within a simulation, which is it's called The 13th Floor. And there's actually a very good movie called The 13th Floor. It's kind of where it sparked from. It's back from the 90s or the early 2000s.
90s, yeah.
It's a great movie. I recommend it to everybody if this topic is of interest to you and such. So or we can delve into the idea of the metaverse, the Facebook brainchild, where there will be two worlds of reality. The first is the primary world, which is where the simulation is being run from. Now, here. And herein then the secondary world, the simulated universe, where we will occupy a virtual space. An almost replica of the planet is the plan. And it's been working. They've been working on this for quite some time. And this will be populated and grown into an entirely new civilization and culture, and successfully making the user, you, believe it to be real through immersion, absorption, and saturation. It will not be something you'll be looking at a screen on. It will be all around you, is the design. And a good example of this is, think about video games. You have like currently you have the video games. It's the vampire civilization, and you're shooting. I don't play video games, so you're shooting the zombies and you're shooting the vampires or whatever case. Or you have the Hobbit or the civilizations. They're about recreating and mimicking reality, reliving past events or creating new ones. There's all different variations that we're currently working with these days and such. So simulation theory is the most prevalent of the alternate reality theorems. And it has it's had quite a few misconceptions of what it is. But there's also a lot of different concepts that are floating around there. And we don't even have close the amount of time to delve into every single one, because a lot of them are kind of a major one, and then but I'm going to tweak this a little bit because it could be this, or we could add this to it. So over the last year of our live streams, we've hinted, nudged, and lightly discussed the idea that out of everything in the entire universe of existence, our consciousness reigns supreme as the most powerful force in the universe, while at the same time the most understood or misunderstood and underused. As where the entire physical aspect of the universe, including our physical bodies, are virtual. Whereas the definition of virtual is something that exists in the mind, exists in essence, but not in fact or created by a computer. And I would even question the term computer, but for now we'll stay with it. I believe, and Gary and I haven't really discussed this as of yet either, is that where we are very, very specific about definitions. and such, it's really important that when we're discussing this, are we really talking about, are are we limited by what we as a species already know? So everything we see is generated by consciousness. Whether it's an actual computer is questionable, but nevertheless, quantum science is pointing in this direction. Look up, look down, look to the right, look to the left. Everything you see and touch is energy formed to a particular frequency by consciousness. The fundamental simulation theory tells us that consciousness is virtual and is so far out there that no words can really describe such a complicated subject. But in my opinion, I believe we are part of an infinite field of cosmic energy. And we have a quantum form, we have thoughts, we have emotions and free will. But I truly believe that the reason scientists use computer or gaming technology or terminology is that because they are simply limited to what they are familiar with. And most are limited to knowledge of the past, and even fewer are enriched with the knowledge of the future.
Yeah.
So when we ask you to join our Saturday morning call, this is what we mean when we talk about going down the rabbit hole. Okay, and this Saturday we're definitely going to be picking up where today leaves off or falls off, depending on where we're at. But you should jump on because it's a free Zoom call and extremely enlightening. And the link will be in below and in the comments. So, so here we are in this virtual world and this virtual universe where nothing is real as we might define it. With everything in this world is being simulated by something somewhere else. Where somewhere else is being defined is not the same plane of existence as the simulation is creating. Okay, so in other words, there is not somebody on Jupiter creating us on Earth, because Jupiter is part of that simulation if we're going to go that direction. So it's something beyond. Okay. It's like explaining water to a fish, or convincing the hobbit and the dragon they can never see the device that brought them to the life on the screen. But this simulation isn't a game. Again, there's a terminology that I makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up when people refer to this as like game technology or and such. This isn't a game. It isn't entertainment. We can best compare it to a school, a university of grand learning with extraordinary rewards for succeeding, and as well horrendous consequences for failure. And we can always concede that failure is the greatest of teachers. We can think of ourselves as avatars, again, for the lack of a better term, but we're avatars brought to life by the essence of consciousness, not our bodies, consciousness. The bodies are the avatars, a physical entity to fulfill a purpose in this current time, but will be replaced when the next class is in session. So, what grade do you think you're in? First grade? Third grade? Or are you going for your master's? So keep in mind that the body needs the consciousness, not the other way around. This is why so many teachings throughout time have written about the spirit and body as separate entities, because this concept has been understood for a long, long time. So in summary, there are basically three variations in the realm of simulation theory. You can think on these until next week's live stream, where we take this a step further in the rise of reality as you want it. So if it came down to a choice, would you experience a different reality? A different simulation? Perhaps the metaverse, where you become so immersed in virtual life and become the pseudo higher mind of a digital avatar, and perhaps completely forget about outside life. So if it came down to a choice, would you experience a different reality, a different simulation? Perhaps the metaverse, where you become so immersed in virtual life and completely forget about outside, or continue this experience, this existence, and evolve to a point where your consciousness eventually melts away and we no longer need to play the game. Similar to a raindrop splashing into the ocean, it loses its individual nature, but becomes the entire ocean. Because we are a very clever species, but we're not a very wise one.
Yeah, and we can certainly, with all of what we've come through as a species, we can start to look at how they, meaning media and companies and whatnot, how they are planning to train us to create a virtual, quote unquote, reality, and see that they've modeled how we actually do create it in this outside world reality. There's a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
Okay. But the difference is that in the metaverse, you've been told you have choice to control that reality. Nobody told you in this one coming in that you do, right? What you need to know is that you have choice and control in this outer matrix, as we call it, as well. Right? So let's get back to the video. I'm going to just, again, put Ross out, bring this back in. Let's get back to the video here again. Now, remember we had the person jumping on the trampoline. Now, if you watch it at the beginning, how many jumps were made on the trampoline? Go ahead. What's the correct answer for those of you that did the exercise? Okay. Go ahead and put in the comments, how many times did that person jump on the trampoline? Let me know what the correct answer is in the chat. And when I see a few of them coming through, then I will reveal it and go through the rest of this. So go ahead and let me know in the comments. How many times? 13 we got there. And what else? Give me some other numbers there. 13, 13. Okay, so let's see what else other people have. Interesting, some people got 13. Let's take a look. The correct answer is 11 jumps. Okay, so we'll go through in a sec. If you got 11 as your answer, some people did, some people at 12, some people at 13, some at 16. Wow, okay. So if you got 11, good for you. If you missed a jump or two, no big deal. If you added extra jumps, again, no big deal. You just need to work on your focus and concentration a little bit. That's all it is. Okay, it's just a matter of putting more attention on, or even maybe the definition of what you considered a jump need to be clarified. Okay, so now here's the other question. Put a yes or a no in the comments, just a yes or a no, if you noticed the gorilla in the video clip. Now, is there a gorilla emoji? If there is, if you guys can find a gorilla emoji, go ahead and drop that in there too for me. But put a yes or a no if you noticed the gorilla in the clip originally. And I'll play it again. We'll see if there is or isn't one. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Most of the time, 50% of people won't see it, 50% will. Okay. So there was a gorilla. Okay, let's see where the gorilla showed up. in that. So take a look at the screen, the reality here again. All right. Okay. Some of you don't believe me, so let's play back, show you. Oh, look at that. All right. Now, there's the gorilla. It was always there. All right. But some of you, a good portion of you, didn't notice it. So what does that have to do with reality? I'll get back to that in a second. Okay. One more demonstration first, though. This time, let me put that out. And all right. I want you to think of, we'll do another demonstration here. I want you to think of a white chair in a room. Just, I want you to think of the idea of a white chair in a room. Take a moment to think about a white chair in a room. Okay. And now take a look at this image. Put that one in. Okay. So it's a white chair in a room, right? In order for this image to be a reality as an image or an actual three-dimensional experience or an image in your mind or your imagination, what has to occur for each and every one of us to agree that that is a chair in a room? Okay, I want you to listen carefully here, because there are a ton of clues that we're going to expose about how you create your reality, and we're not even gonna touch on all of them. I can only limit it to a specific aspect of it as we go through this, because there's so many layers. Okay, so this isn't the be all end all in how you create reality, but it's a good general picture of some of the key components. Three things happen almost instantaneously, and most will order them in this way that I'm going to go through. There must be a location for something to happen or exist. That's the first. Then there must be something that happens or exists in that location. Then there must be a reference of time, meaning how long it is, when it happened. I mean, there must be some reference of time when that something happens or occurs or exists in that location. Okay. Then there is the observer who measures all of that and either confirms or denies that something is happening or existing. Okay. It's a bit of a brain freeze. I get it. Take a breath. It's a bit of a brain freeze, but fundamentally, that's what happens over and over and over and over again every single moment of experiencing what you call reality. You're just not consciously aware of it, because there's another part of you, not just conscious, but a super conscious part of you that's taking on all of those additional things that need to be considered in order to create that reality. Okay? When it comes to this chair in the room, understand that there are things, and it could be the chair in the room can represent some kind of manifestation you want in your life. It could represent people. It could represent emotions. It could represent results in life. It could represent anything. Okay, so the chair in the room, understand that there are things that you had to delete, distort, and generalize to even conceptualize this possible reality. Now, because I gave you an image to look at, I actually influenced your reality. See, I told you I was going to do it at the beginning. All right. All right. I actually influenced your reality because I showed this to you. But before I showed it to you, you had an infinite amount of options to choose from, right? So it could have been, let me hide this one. It could have been any one of those chairs, right? But the moment I deleted certain options, I distorted what you could focus on, and even generalized the possibilities, then I controlled the reality you experienced, which goes back to the gorilla, right? I gave you instructions to put your attention on a specific aspect of what was going on in that reality. And then you took on the role on your own, you took on the role of deleting, distorting, or generalizing what you experienced. Now, this is happening all the time, okay? Because there's an infinite amount of information, externally and internally. An infinite amount of information. And we're in a couple of streams, we're going to talk more about what we call the infinity matrix. But essentially, there's an infinite amount of things externally in that matrix, and an infinite amount of things in the internal matrix, which all come together in your experience of reality. And in order to choose an experience from that infiniteness, to call it reality from all of that, you have to block out a significant part of that reality show that is always going on. Right? So back to the white chair in the room. Let me go back to the original here. All right. So back to the white chair in the room. Imagine, well, be prepared. I'm going to blow your mind a little bit here. So buckle up, okay? All right. In a fraction of a second, in a fraction of a nanosecond, right? You had to do all of these things and more. I'm just going to touch on some of them, right? But you have to do these and a ton more other things, right? You had to think of any room and all rooms you've ever experienced in your entire life, along with any and all rooms you've ever imagined. And from all of that, you decided on one of them. Then when I showed you something, right, what you had to do is you had to confirm that what I showed you was similar enough to what you created to confirm that, yeah, Gary's not talking about something. He's not talking about a cat in a room. He's talking about a chair in a room. Right? You had to think of that contrast to compare it to what your references were to then align with the reality that I presented. Right? Then you had to think of any and all chairs you've ever come across or imagined. From all of that, you chose one of them, and then you did the same thing. When I presented it, you thought about the one you had, and then you confirmed that there was enough similarity to the one that I presented for us to both collectively agree that that is a chair in both our realities. Then you had to sort through any and all colors and shades of those colors to discount them as options in order to confirm that the chair in the room is the exact shade of white and not any other color. And then you had to hold it in your consciousness. You had to hold in your consciousness everything in the entire universe that it exists and has ever existed that is not chair, and then exclude them from being there instead of that chair. I hope you guys are understanding the depth of what we are and how powerful we are as beings, right? Then you also had to hold the infinitely expansive awareness of everything that is not in that room, right? to discount it from your experience. And in that fraction of a nanosecond, the grand being that is you can hone in on one moment in one place with one thing or set of things, showing you and showing up to be your experience, to be experienced out of the infiniteness of reality. So the real question is, if you're negating out so much, right? If you're doing this all the time, right? If you're negating so much of the reality that actually exists, what are you missing out on? What opportunities or experiences are there that could be just a little to the left, or just a little to the right, or just above, or just below what you're putting your attention on? See, the first thing you need to do is to really fine-tune your reality creating, in order to fine-tune your reality creating abilities, is to begin with actually exposing reality as you know it. And then you can explore reality as you like it to be, which is next week's topic, right? Which comes full circle back to what I said in the beginning. Let me bring Ross back in here. Hide that. Hide that. Bring Ross back in. All right. So it brings us back to what I talked about in the beginning. If we can agree that reality consists of some form of matter, and quantum mechanics has been demonstrating and proving that consciousness affects matter, then the conclusion that we have to come to is that reality is dependent on consciousness, which means the level or depth of your consciousness will determine the level or depth of your reality that you experience. Okay. I can almost hear some of you saying, so Gary, that all sounds nice in theory, but how do us mere mortals acquire the skill, the skill set and build on it? All right. So here's my 3-step answer. A visual recap of this will be posted in the private group after we're done the stream. So if you're not already a member, head over to facebook.com/ I'm going to post it in the comments here. Facebook.com/groups/ the Infinity Matrix. Answer the 3 entry questions and you'll be automatically accepted into the group. And you can find this post, post of this stream, and you'll get the graphic there. All right. So here you have it. The 3-step formula to exposing reality as you know it. Number 1, assess whether the reality you are experiencing is what you prefer or not. It's first thing, assess, determine if it's something you prefer or not. If it is, great. Step number 2, if it is, check. If it is, enjoy the artistry of your creation. If it's not, in step number 2, then get clear on what is in your reality. So take inventory. Take inventory of what you're experiencing in what we call the outside matrix, right? Observe what's there, what you call reality, and take inventory of what you're experiencing in the inside matrix, meaning your thoughts, your internal dialogue, your internal imagery, your feelings, etc., etc. Take inventory, check in what's going on. How is this coming about from all of what's going on internally and what's actually there in my awareness externally. Okay. After you've taken inventory of what is, explore what you're deleting, distorting, or generalizing in order to hold on to your current reality that you have. So ask these 3 questions. Question number 1. And this step number 3, there's 3 questions. Question number 1, what would I have to be deleting in order to have this experience? So if we go back to the idea of the room and the chair, right? You would have to delete the idea or the concept of someone sitting in the chair, because we didn't talk about someone sitting in the chair. You'd have to delete the idea of the style of chair, the color of chair, the design of chair, the room, the color of the room, in the image I showed, there was a light shining in there, so shadows, the time of day, the functionality, even the position. There's all these things you had to delete to come up with the concept of a room and a chair. So start to think about what those are. Second question: how have I distorted things so that I buy into the idea of this being the only reality available? So we go back to the video, right? You distorted the experience by only looking at and counting the jumps instead of the whole experience, and potentially becoming aware of the gorilla jumping in, stepping in and stepping out. Okay, so what have you distorted in order to buy into the idea that this is the only reality available? And then question number 3 is, what are some specific things that I'm generalizing so that this reality can continue beyond this moment? Right? You have to generalize that all chairs have 4 legs. You have to generalize the chair had a back, or the chair was functional, or the chair was intact. You have to generalize that concept of those ideas around it in order to sustain that chair. Okay? So yes, this is blowing some people's minds, and I get that. But the more you dig into it, you'll at the first it's going to be like, oh, this is too much, because it is. We're stepping out of the reality that you're normally used to holding on to, so that you can experience more of what reality there is. And all you got to do is ask the question. You don't have to come up with all the answers for them. Just ask the question, right? Well, if you look at your world right now, and there's some part of it you don't enjoy, whether it's a relationship or an emotion you're feeling or a result you're getting, right? Say, okay, what part of that is actually, what is there? Let's get the reality of what's there externally, what's showing up, and what's going on internally that's going on while that's happening, right? Then you say, okay, now if I want a change or a shift, I gotta look at, well, how is this being created? I need to know all the options. I need to step out of what is and look at what is not there. So ask the question, well, what am I deleting? Just ask, what am I deleting in this experience? Maybe I'm deleting some memories. Maybe I'm deleting some ideas. Maybe I'm deleting some other concepts or possibilities. And that opens up your mind to thinking more, expands your consciousness. Okay, someone gives some great notes there on 3. That's great. Okay. And the second question is, okay, well, what have I distorted? How have I changed things to kind of, make them more than they are, or less than they are, or like how have I distorted things in order for me to hold on to this reality? And then what are the specific things I'm generalizing? Just ask the questions and do it as a practice. Okay, and you'll get better, and it'll get easier, and things will start to pop open for you and go, whoa, oh, okay, I get what Gary's saying. I get what he's doing, what he's communicating. I get how this reality consists of things that exist and all the things that don't exist as well. Can't not. I have to have something to bounce it off of. Okay, and remember, the key to exposing and expanding reality as you know it is to constantly be working on different ways to increase your level and depth of consciousness. And those 3 simple steps will get you to mastery levels and depths of consciousness. But it's going to take time. It's going to take practice, especially if it's not your normal track of thinking and processing info. So be gentle with yourself, right? But you'll only get better if you act and implement the hack, right? And while it's there's elements of it that are complex, it's simple. It's 3 steps, right? So sorry for those of you who want it to be more complex. Sometimes the simplicity of things can confuse people because it's so simple. So it really is that simple, right? And the two other amazing ways to increase your depth and level of consciousness is to show up to to show up to the show every Thursday. Join us on these live streams, and then on Saturday mornings, come and join us for more expanded conversations where we can dive deeper into it. You're welcome to ask questions, share insights, participate in whatever ways that you can in how far down the rabbit hole we go. So just go to Hacking the Infinite, it's scrolling on the bottom, hackingtheinfinitematrix.com/rabbit hole to get the Zoom link, and then join us on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. And the next week, we will be building on today's content to give you tools to experience the rise of reality as you want it. It's going to be fun. All right. So to give you a jump start into the art of designing your reality in 2022 and beyond, make sure you look for the scheduled post. Usually we do it Monday or Tuesday. Look for the scheduled post and then hit the get reminder button so you don't miss out. All right. Also, if you want to get the replay, because again, this is a lot to absorb, you may need to hear it a couple times. You may need to go through the concepts and the ideas, pause it and contemplate and consider it and really let it sink in. You can get access to all replay of all our past episodes, including this one at hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/replays. Let me put that on the screen here for you. And I thought I had it there. hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/replays. Oh, for some reason I lost that link on the screen. So I can't show it on screen, but we'll put in the comments.
Already posted as well, so it's good. Looks like we may have lost Gary. Gary, you are frozen. And I don't mean the Disney movie.
I'm back now.
I
think so. I think it might have happened when I tried to post the link. So that's our stream for today, everyone. Once again,
glitch. Gary just changed everyone's reality.
Thanks for tuning in.
One of the things I like to add to what Gary said, though, is that when you're practicing this, it's the little things. It's noticing the little things, and then as you start to notice those little tiny things changing, or I didn't realize it. Oh, I didn't realize that little thing. Oh, I've had that all as long, and because it's just something that you've just been filtered out. Notice those little things. It's just like when we talked about manifesting a couple weeks ago. It's just like it's the little things. You start to notice them, appreciate them, and then all of a sudden more and more and more because you're breaking down those barriers.
Pasha says that I discovered that I'm not crazy. Thank you, guys. Absolutely.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah. We get it. And that's why we do this. So more and more people can understand that you're not alone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your uniqueness now starts to show.
Yeah. So that's our stream for today, everyone. Once again, thanks for tuning in, sticking around. We truly appreciate you and look forward to when we connect next time. Till next time, we dare you to be exceptional, implement these hacks, and master the art of designing your reality. We'll see you guys on Saturday, those that show up, and next week, Thursday, for those who come back to the stream. Be well, everyone.